Hello there, and today we're doing an FPL preview for Game Week 29. It's the blank game week, and it's the one we all dreaded. And I've been planning my team with transfers, with strategies, and all that stuff ahead of this week, where there's just 4 games. And those 4 games are Brighton versus Newcastle, Fulham versus Leeds, which is on Sky Sports tonight. Interesting Friday night one to set up the weekend. We have Villa versus Spurs, and we have a London derby between West Ham and Arsenal. And I've basically tried to spread my players across these teams as much as I can in the build-up to this game week, but it's tough because you don't want to make massive hits. In an ideal world, you'd have the free hit, but I, of course, used that in game week 18, which was the last blank game week. Talking of that blank game week, I did absolute bits. I got my best game week rank of the season inside the top 100k. You love that. But hopefully it's the same in game week 29. And hopefully it's another green arrow after some good scores last week. We got 59 with a -4 hit, I think, which was 55. So we'll take that. But ultimately, let's see if it's going to be a big week for us. It needs to be, really. It's going to be a week where a lot of people are going to struggle. Some FPL managers will have no clue that this is going on. There's only 4 games, and they'll literally be seeing it now about 20 minutes before the deadline and thinking, oh dear, I'm in trouble. But ultimately, I think you've got to look at fixtures, you've got to look at form, and you've also got to look at who's playing this week. And also you've got to remember who's playing in the blank game week 33. Now, blank game week 33, you ask, what's that all about? Well, that is the week that Man City and Spurs will be playing in the Carabao Cup final. So, those players will miss games. So, your Kanes, your Sons, your Diaz's, your Gundowans, your De Bruynes. And also, the likes of Fulham players and Southampton players will miss that week because they were due to play fixtures with those teams. So, let's look at the long term. I think that ultimately, if you look at long term, who's got the best fixtures, it's difficult because there's a range of teams that you can look at. But right now, this is our team. We've got Martinez in goal. What a player! Now, I would have had Sanchez still there, but I've just in the last few weeks decided to move to Martinez, and he's done pretty well for me. The first week I got him in, lovely 7-pointer. The next week, so unlucky to not get a clean sheet, but he at least did make some save points against Newcastle, so we'll take that. And I just think that Villa defence is pretty sturdy. It's a tough test this week, but we saw Spurs absolutely fail against Arsenal and, of course, in the Europa League, and they lost that embarrassing match to get knocked out. So, ultimately, I think that Spurs could score goals, or it could be a clean sheet for Martinez, so we shall see. We also got Edouard Mendy, and we will work out whether we are going to bench him this week or not. Probably going to be Martinez playing, and the reason is, well, not probably, definitely, Mendy's not got a game this blank game week. But anyway, the main thing to remember is we're going to make some transfers, and we need to get it done. So, let me reveal to you the overall trend of my transfers this week. I'm telling you, we are taking a -4. And the reason for that is the week of this week is going to be a one where a lot of people take hits. They're going to be desperate to get in these Game Week 29 players. Otherwise, they're just going to have a blank team playing. I mean, you could just take the L and, be like, all right, I've got a great team, but I don't want to change it. I'll just give up on FPL this week and we'll come back in week 30. To be fair, it's not a terrible way to go because it doesn't rip up your team and it keeps the players you want long term. But it will massively drop your rank, and people that are thinking about this blank game week in your mini leagues, well, they will have really the upper advantage. So ultimately, there's a lot of options to look at. And also, Newcastle right now are in a position where their defence is struggling, and they have a massive game against Brighton, which could be either a very tight one, a very goal-shy one, because both sides know how much points are important in that game, or both teams could go out for it and then their defence is exposed. So we really don't know at this point. But Martinez is going to be my player starting against Spurs. And we're going to make the transfers live on FPL. I know, that's very interesting indeed. But yeah, next up on the list we have Matt Targett. And Matt Targett, we know he's a great player. He's got such attacking potential. So unlucky to not get an assist against Newcastle. I mean, that ball in for Watkins was wonderful. But it did take a nick off Kieran Clark. So, you know, it is what it is. Still 4 points with the bonuses. But, yeah, I was very unlucky. But I think long term, the clean sheets will be coming for Villa. And the double up of Villa defence and Man City defence could be a nice one. However, we might move towards something different in the future. But right now, we've got Matt Targett, who is facing a tough opponent in Spurs. But as we know with Targett, he's got that attacking potential to make it better. Then we have Stuart Dallas. Then we've got John Stones, Cresswell, Diaz, Aubameyang, Gundogan, Lingard, Son, Rafinha, Calvert-Lewin, Bamford and Vardy. That's our team from last week. But what will our team be this week? So let me talk you through transfer number 1, which I've officially decided on. It's not locked in, but I'm going to lock it in as we speak. So, who is it going to be? It's going to be a forward, and that forward goes by the name of Harry Kane, the Hurricane. And the reason I'm bringing him in, well, Harry Kane is just too good to not own, all right? We had our frustrations with Kane back in the past of this FPL season. We brought him in for that unfortunate game at home to Liverpool in game week 20, where he just decided to get injured, literally about 10 minutes after I transfer him in. Or, you know, it was halfway through the game and I transferred him in the previous game week because I was trying to get him in for long term. And, of course, he made it short term. So he comes in. And the reason for that is, you know, Spurs, they might be a bit of a wounded animal after last night's Europa League embarrassment, but they're still a good attacking team. You can still back Kane for a lot of points. And maybe, just maybe, he might have to take the captaincy. And I know a lot of people are going to be doing this. A lot of people probably already have Kane, which probably means I'm missing out and I can at least shield against them by having Kane. But ultimately, I don't even care if other people have got Kane, because if he scores points, then fantastic. And we know he can. We know he's very, very lethal and explosive on his day. And this just looks like a nice fixture. Villa will be tough. And if Kane does blank, you've always got future games where he can get loads of points. And we've got Martinez. So if Martinez does keep the clean sheets, then it will be good. But obviously not good for Kane. So yeah, Kane is coming in. But who did he come in for? That is the question. It's a tough one because we've got Patrick Bamford, who had an injury knock, but looks like he's going to be okay to face Fulham tonight. It's looking like he's been cleared to play. But then we've got Calvert-Lewin and Vardy. Now, who to switch out of those is a tough one. But we've gone for Jamie Vardy to go. And that is because Calvert-Lewin long-term is better. I know what you'll say about Vardy. He's a premium player and all that. But, you know, with Iheanacho there, and then they'll eventually get Barnes and Maddison back, it just doesn't feel like Leicester are going to be consistent for the rest of the season. And ultimately, Calvert-Lewin's fixtures are looking very, very nice long term, even if his whole Everton team isn't doing an amazing job. Leicester aren't doing an amazing job either. And I think Calvert-Lewin has got the chance of a double game week in the future. And those fixtures are very, very much nice. And I think Vardy's just, you know, did well for me with the 13-pointer against Sheffield United. But that was a nice way to see him off. And hopefully no more blanks for my team. So he goes and Kane comes in. Okay, so we're going to make a -4, as we mentioned. So who is the other transfer? Now, this is a difficult thing because basically I decided that for this week, I want 10 players to play. And that is bold. That is ambitious because a lot of people have 6 or 7 or even 8 or 9. But I'm going for the double digits and I'm going for a midfielder because it has to be done. Heung-min Son is not going to play. He's ruled out. I know people will say, the hopefuls will say, oh, just keep Son in your team. He'll probably play. It'll just be a bit of bluffing from Mourinho. No, I'm sorry. He does not come back from this, Heung-min Son. He's not going to play, and it needs to be done to get a replacement in for him. Now, the difficult thing is, by getting in Kane, well, I suppose it's not really a difficult thing, but it does give me options, because I already had a little bit of money in the bank, had about 2.2 in the bank, and 2.9, sorry. By getting Kane in, that doesn't actually hurt too much, because Vardy's quite similar in his price, but Son going out, that's 9.5 of money worth, so it gives me a lot of money to work with, basically. 11 million to get a replacement for Son, but I can get anyone. I could get, someone that plays this week, ideally, but also someone long-term that could be good. And I could easily just go from Son to Bale. But if I'm already getting Kane, do I need Bale as well? Bale looked very much off it against Arsenal. He's not so much guaranteed game time. With Harry Kane, he's going to be a reliable one. He's the obvious choice. But with Bale, a bit more of a risk. He might be a bit more differential, but is he going to play, and also is he going to score? Not necessarily. So, yeah, he might look good on the eye, and he might pass most of the tests in terms of that, but I don't know if I can commit to it. So, it's not going to be Bale. So then you think, okay, let's try and think long term. Let's try and have some players for future game weeks. And remember, game week 33, Spurs don't play. So, if we can get someone that's not a Spurs midfielder, that would be nice. So, maybe we go and get someone that plays in this game. It could be someone like Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, I've got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, so that's a difficult one. Do I really want to double up on Arsenal? Well, it's not the worst shout because, long term, Arsenal have not got too bad fixtures, and they don't have a single blank for the rest of the season. So they've got consistent games, and it could work, doubling up on Arsenal. But Aubameyang, for me, he might, be the slightly odd one because he's not been consistent, but he will come good at the end of the season, and he's the one that will steal all the headlines. I don't see Emil Smith-Rowe and maybe even Saka, who we think is going to miss this weekend. I just don't see me getting both of them because it's one or the other, and I'd like to spread my opportunities for points. Now, another player I could get is an Aston Villa midfielder, but my options there are a bit limited. Now, obviously, I already have 2 Villa players, so I can afford to get a third one, but, without Jack Grealish, Ollie Watkins is not a very good player. I wouldn't get Ollie Watkins because we're going for Kane. But ultimately, do we know Jack Grealish is going to be back this weekend? There's been reports circling around, some reliable, some not, that he could be back for this week. He only missed the last game due to illness, not an injury. He kind of had got better from the injury and then had a little bit of an illness. So chances are he could be involved on Sunday, and I very much think that's a possibility. But do I really want to bank on a player who, he's only just come back from a long spell out, will take a while to get back in the swing of things, and maybe will just start from the bench against Tottenham? And I don't want to have a player who doesn't play because ultimately we've got no players on the bench who are playing this week. So it all comes down to this team that is in the first team. So I don't know. I think Grealish would be a nice, ideal one if he's fully fit and firing and with form, but he hasn't shown that form. And I think one player that has shown a bit of recent form is Leandro Trossard. Trossard is an option, alright? He might be a bit of an odd one. It's a bit of a differential move. And Bale is probably safer, but Bale doesn't play in 33. Trossard does. And they're playing Newcastle this week, Brighton, which is quite a nice fixture. So it could be an option to get in Leandro Trossard. I'm not going to get in Pascal Gross because that is gross. And also, he just doesn't have a high point ceiling, whereas Trossard possibly does. So it's a difficult decision to make. We've got so much money to play with, and we're not quite sure what to do with it. Another thing we were considering was getting out Bamford, provided he was going to miss this week, but it looks like he's not going to. And also, we could have done one of the forwards out for Michail Antonio. Now, Michail, I really do like you as a player. Do not score when I'm not wanting you to, basically. Hopefully, we can maybe get him later on in the season. I don't know when it's going to be, but he's a very good player, and West Ham are a good team in general. Ultimately, I didn't fancy this week because West Ham Arsenal could be competitive. I don't know. The thing is, Antonio scored in the reverse fixture, but we've already got Aubameyang. I just feel like we've already got those three West Ham and Arsenal players in this game. Do we need a fourth? Does Antonio have to come in? Not necessarily. I think Kane is more essential, and we obviously need to replace Son. So, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Lingard would have been the better option to replace Son if we didn't already have Lingard, but we do. So, yeah, it's a tough one. But I think that... I mean, I could get a Newcastle midfielder because they have pretty good fixtures and they play in 29 and 33. But Newcastle going forward are just so poor. Like, who would I even get from Newcastle? Like, I don't even know. So if we just have a little look at the options for Newcastle, you know, you've got people like Shelvey, no chance. You've got, who else have we got? We've got Isaac Hayden. Almiron is probably going to be injured. And he's scored about 2 goals all season, isn't he? No, 4 goals. Fair enough, fair enough. But he just doesn't look that appetising. The fixtures are very good, to be fair, for Newcastle. There is like a really good spell up to 31, apart from the Spurs game, and then they start to turn bad, and then it ends on a high with Sheffield United and Fulham. I don't know. But Newcastle, man, they're going to be in the midst of a relegation fight. Do I really want to own their players? I just don't really know. It doesn't seem that, you know, that tasty, and I feel like if I bring in a Newcastle player, they might get an odd goal, but most likely it will be a blank, and I'll regret it. So we're not going to get a Newcastle player. And then it's tough because, you know, teams like Brighton, yeah, they've got good fixtures, but are they going to get loads of goals? The other option is, as I said, an Aston Villa midfielder, but with Grealish, we're unsure if he's going to play. With Bertrand Traore, we're unsure with his fitness. And El Ghazi, is he really a good option? I don't know. It's difficult, to be honest. There's a few interesting players like Arsenal midfielders and, you know, Aston Villa midfielders that I mentioned. But are they really better? The question is Trossard better or worse than people like Traore, Grealish, El Ghazi, Odegaard maybe? But Odegaard, I think, is a bit knee-jerk. He's only just come in and he's got 1 goal in the Europa League. It was a good goal, but, you know, he's playing a lot, so he might get rested soon. And another, which was the deflected strike against Tottenham. I don't know. Like, I'm not completely feeling it right now. I'm feeling nervous right now because this could make a big change who I bring in for Son. But I think stick to my guns, say Trossard, or it could be an Aston Villa midfielder or an Arsenal midfielder. I mean, Trossard is differential, and I think it could be a good option. So we're going to go for it, all right? The Belgian, it's always a Belgian, as Spencer FC says. And Leandro Trossard is coming into the team. So that is the transfers this week of Son to Trossard and Vardy to Kane. There they are, people. Those are the transfers. Feast your eyes on it. And let's lock it in for game week number 29. Confirmed the -4. Lovely stuff. Okay. So this is what our team is looking like. We're going to obviously switch in. Well, the question is, do we play Calvert-Lewin or do we play Stones? I know both of them have not got games, but it just might look a bit more interesting to start one of them or maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't know why I'm even saying these things, but all right, let's say that we have Stones at the back just for the fun of it, because Stones is a legend after that Fulham game. He's implanted himself in this team, and that's why I'm reluctant to sell him. But we might have to do it at some point, or we sell Diaz. Who even knows? But right now, the team is Martinez, Dallas, Cresswell, Target, Stones, Lingard, Rafinha, Aubameyang Vice, Trossard, Kane, and Bamford. Now, the question is, would we put Lingard up for vice-captaincy over Aubameyang? That is a tough one, actually. I'm not even that sure what I would do in that situation. So maybe we go ahead and just feel a bit crazy and go for it by captaining one of Aubameyang or Lingard. Nah, it's just too nervy, man. I can't be doing it. All right? that you know, you could do it, but do I really want to? Nah, not particularly. So that is our team locked in. So if you just have a little look, people, at the team we've got at our disposal. Oh, wait a second. There it is. So Martinez, and then Dallas, Cresswell, Target, Stones. Lingard is currently captain. I know, that's a bit crazy. I'll admit, that is a bit crazy. But then we've got Rafinha, then Aubameyang, then Trossard, then Kane, then Bamford, Mendy, Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin, Diaz. So, with those 2 transfers we've made for the -4 hit, now it comes down to the player-to-player analysis, which we'll do right now once we've made our... Well, we've locked it in, actually, so we can do that now. So then we'll do that, and then we'll do the captaincy and vice-captaincy. So, let us have a little look at our team for this week, people. Why Do I Never Win is the team name. It is ranked 406,403. Then it's going to be 1740 overall points, 59 last week. And we've gone up in our mini-leagues a nice little bit there. So that is encouraging to see. But right now, we think that Bamford's going to play. But let's start off with Martinez. Martinez against Tottenham. I said it's tough, and we've brought in Kane. So it's the best of both worlds here. If Villa do very well and get clean sheets, it's glorious for Target and for Martinez. But if not, Kane is lethal, and he might be our captain. We don't know at this point. But Martinez has just been the goalie of the season, no question about it. And let's see what happens in that game. It'll be very toughly contested, that game on Sunday. So Martinez, fingers crossed for some big points, mate. Now we've got Stuart Dallas, the absolute beast of our team, and he is brilliant. He just gets points, and I was thinking about the captaincy for Stuart Dallas, but we did say after we captained Diaz in Gameweek 28 that, Gameweek 27, the double game week, that we're not going to go back to that. We're not going to be captaining a defender ever again, because it went absolutely pear-shaped against Man United and Southampton, respectively. No clean sheets, and Diaz didn't actually, get many points. So it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. But we will move on from that. We're not going to captain a defender. As much as of a tempting thing as it is, it's just not about it. And maybe Dallas could, just say to me, "What are you doing, mate? I'm going to get you loads of points. Go captain me." But it's too risky, all right? Against Fulham, there's a chance for clean sheet, but Fulham, yeah, they'll put up a fight. Leeds, though, quite inconsistent, and it's hard to know what to make of them. They don't always concede a lot, but if there's one game for Dallas to maybe keep a clean sheet, it could be this one. And, of course, we know that Dallas has got very good chance of attacking returns. So, yeah, he's going to be my first defender in the team. Then it's Aaron Cresswell. Now, Aaron Cresswell faces Arsenal. I've, of course, got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and, if I got another Arsenal midfielder in, that would kind of be saying I'm not thinking Cresswell's going to get points. But even if Aubameyang does score, which hopefully will happen, Cresswell, we know, loves a goal or loves an assist from a set piece. He is on free kicks, corners, and he gets bonus points like there's no tomorrow. So he's so good at that. And yeah, I've got a feeling he could get more points once again. He's in the dream team for a reason, and West Ham can defy the odds this season against big teams. So come on, Aaron, once again, mate, you need to deliver the goods, but hopefully he'll bounce back from that disappointing 2-pointer against Man United. Then we've got Matt Target, and facing Spurs, again, it's tough, just as it was for Martinez, but we know with Target, he's got that attacking potential that can really get us some big points, so I'm happy about that. Then we've got John Stones. Now, John Stones is a bit of a legend, but we know he's not got a fixture this week, so we're just playing him for the fun of it. Then it's Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard, what form he's been in, and I bet he'll be gutted he couldn't play against Man United last week, because he probably would have scored, knowing him. Now, that obviously was because he was on loan at from Man United, but ultimately I think he will, before we think we know it, he'll put pen to paper and commit to this West Ham team, because he's been flourishing in that Hammers team at the minute, and it's another decent fixture. And against Arsenal, Lingard has done some great things in the past for Manchester United, and I'll always remember his iconic celebration at the Emirates Stadium. So he can turn into a prime Messi if he wants to against Arsenal, but it's whether he'll do it this week. You know, Arsenal defensively are still a bit frail at times, but they have improved, and West Ham are very attacking. So I think Lingard can get some points here. Come on, J-Lings. Then Rafinha against Fulham, another good fixture. We know Rafinha is just such a dominant threat for that Leeds team. He gets so involved in the attacking and very spectacular player to watch. Hopefully he gets some more points, and you know, in the reverse fixture there wasn't the desired effect really, but he didn't actually register for a match because he'd been transferred in. So, you know, there's not a lot we can do about that, but let's see how he fares this week. Aubameyang, vice-captain at the minute, but it's going to change. Aubameyang, you know, it's frustrating about last week, but I brought him in for this double game week. For this blank game week. I keep getting it mixed up. So it wasn't really too much of a hit that, you know, he didn't play last week. At least I got Stuart Dallas's points off the bench, so that's not too bad. Whereas Salah, who I replaced Aubameyang with, did nothing, as usual. But mainly Aubameyang is looking good for this game because West Ham will go for this one, and it might leave spaces for Aubameyang to punish. I think he should be back in the team. If not, you know, he can make an impact substitution and score off the bench. But I think he should start. And he's got quite a nice record against London teams. And of course scored in his fixture last season with a nice little volley, basically, after it was chipped in by Pepe, I do believe. So, yeah, I think Aubameyang's got a chance here. Hopefully he can rip it up. Then we've got the new transfer in, Leandro Trossard. And you'll say, what are you doing? You're not going to get points from him. Well, I think we should have a little look at Trossard. We're going for him long term because we know that Brighton play in Game Week 33. And let's just see how he gets on. It's his first chance of points, and I think that he's a very good player. So he's got chance of delivering an assist in the reverse fixture versus Newcastle. Let's get a bit more than that, though, for our new player, Leandro Trossard. It's always a Belgian. And then we've got Harry Kane. And Harry Kane against Aston Villa is not the best of fixtures because Villa have been quite defensively solid. But it's Harry Kane. He can score in any game. And ultimately, he, of course, scored a brace in his last 2 games with Aston Villa. And one of them was, I think, an opening day clash at Wembley. Or at least the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't know which one. But the main thing is, we know Kane is lethal. And he is the Hurricane. It is Harry Kane. And it was just getting to the point now where I had to own him. Even if people have him, so what? He gets points. And finally, we have Patrick Bamford, who looks like he's going to play, and on his day can be explosive. He scored a hat-trick this season against Aston Villa, one of the teams of this season, and hopefully he can do it against Fulham. But I don't know. Bamford obviously looks like he should play, and if he doesn't, that's a nightmare. But, you know, we'll be in the same boat because a lot of people will rest on him playing this week. And Patrick Bamford, you know, for a game against Fulham, just like with Trossard, his game against Newcastle, it's a favourable fixture. Fulham aren't terrible. They're not Sheffield United, but they're also one of the best defences you can target. So, yeah, Patrick Bamford hopefully has that BAM impact for my team this week. And on the bench, of course, none of them play, but it's Mendy, Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin, and Ruben Diaz. So that is our team locked in. Let me just show it to you people, and we can basically just show it to the viewers. So hang on a second whilst I just zoom out a little bit. There we are. Right, that should do it. Let's take a little snap of that. Absolutely glorious team. Oh, actually, before we do, we should decide captaincy. So we're going to end it very soon, don't worry. Keep the patience, keep the faith, because this team is worth the wait. So, we're going to captain one of Harry Kane, Patrick Bamford, Aubameyang, and Lingard. We're not going to captain Rafinha because, I don't know, I'm not about it really. So, yeah, realistically, we're never going to captain Lingard. It's differential, it could work, and, you know, fair enough if you go for that, but I'm not going to be one of those people. Aubameyang, well, he let us down in the last game. He's not been in the most consistent form, but I think if he ticks along with points, that'll be enough for us. So he might not be explosive against West Ham, and I'm going to bench him. Sorry, not going to bench him. I'm not going to captain him. Obviously, we're going to play him because I think he is still a good asset for this week. But we're going to captain the obvious, Harry Kane. And it's a shame in a way because everyone's going to do it, and it makes the game a bit boring. But sometimes boring is good, and sometimes you just gotta, be happy with the simplest answer. Don't do too much, but do what you can. And Kane is going to be the man, the Hurricane, to hopefully make a storming entrance into my team this blank game week. So captaincy goes with Kane, and vice captaincy is his North London counterpart, Aubameyang. We're locked in for game week number 29. Hope this team gets lots of points, and I hope you have enjoyed my FPL preview for game week 29. I shall see you in the FPL review later in the week. Thanks for watching.